Hello? Hello? There we go. We... Oops, sorry. No, I don't want to quit. We're live this morning with some Dear Esther. Oops, sorry, my throat's like... I had one of those nights where I slept all the way through and it was awesome. So I'm really well rested, but my throat and nose are just like so dry. But yeah. I remember attempting to play this game. This is a similar story that I have with Gone Home. When this game came out, the only things I had to play were a PS4 and a Mac computer, which at that point Steam had not optimized. No one was optimizing for Mac. So I think I played this for a little bit and then like things were like looking real choppy on my Mac and I just kind of quit. So we're here. We're here again here today. We're playing another game that had passed me by a little bit. So I guess without further ado, let's go. Oops, hold on. One more blackout on the screen potentially. No blackout. Okay. Is this how it's supposed to look? Oh no, this is new.
Dear Esther, the morning after I was washed ashore, salt in my ears, sand in my mouth, and the waves always at my ankles, I felt as though everything had conspired to this one last shipwreck. I remembered nothing but water, stones in my belly and my shoes, threatening to drag me under to where only the most listless of creatures swim.
This is not supposed to be a scary movie. Jesus, scary game, right? Okay, so that's... I sneezed, that's why I paused. Okay, what's in here? It's more paint. More paint. No weird chemical symbols in there, though. Okay. First thing off the bat, the game still looks great. I think it was like a 2012 game, which, like, yeah, at that point, I think, yeah, I had my Mac, and this would not have, I can just remember how choppy everything looked. Nice beach, a bunch of trash everywhere. If I went up the hill, where would it take me? Well, oh, okay, so I can go up the hill this way too.
When you were born, your mother told me, a hush fell over the delivery room. A great red birthmark covered the left side of your face. No one knew what to say, so you cried to fill the vacuum. I always admired you for that you cried to fill whatever vacuum you found. I began to manufacture vacuums just to enable you to deploy your talent. The birthmark faded by the time you were 6 and had gone completely by the time we met, but your fascination with the empty and its cure remained.
Dude, whoever's here loves math. The Fibonacci spiral. right? That's what it's called, the Fibonacci spiral.
Dear Esther, I found myself to be as featureless as this ocean, as shallow and unoccupied as this bay, a listless wreck without identification. My rocks are these bones, and a careful fence to keep the precipice at bay. Shot through me caves, my forehead a mount. This aerial will transmit into me so. All overexposed, the nervous system, where Donnelly's boots and yours and mine still trample. I will carry a torch for you. I will leave it at the foot of my headstone. You will need it for the tunnels that carry me under.
Okay, so I'm writing... I'm assuming I'm playing as the person writing Esther these letters. That's my big old prediction. I did get a full 8 hours of sleep, but that doesn't mean my brain isn't still trying to process the day a little bit. You guys talking about how empty the bay is and all that, but it kind of looks beautiful. I don't know. I think there's some beauty in empty spaces, personally, for me. I know some people don't like them.
Reading Donnelly by the weak afternoon sunlight. He landed on the south side of the island, followed the path to the bay and climbed the mount. He did not find the caves, and he did not chart the north side. I think this is why his understanding of the island is flawed, incomplete. He stood on the mount and only wondered momentarily how to descend. But then, he didn't have my reasons.
Okay. Did I find the caves and all that stuff? I did though, yeah, I found a cave.
When someone had died or was dying, or was so ill they gave up what little hope they could sacrifice, they cut parallel lines into the cliff, exposing the white chalk beneath. You could see them from the mainland or the fishing boats, and know to send aid or impose a cordon of protection, and wait a generation until whatever pestilence stalked the cliff paths died along with its hosts. My lines are just for this. To keep any would-be rescuers at bay. The infection is not simply of the flesh. We are not like Lot's wife, you and I. We feel no particular need to turn back. There's nothing to be seen if we did. No tired old man parting the cliffs with his arms. No gifts or Bibles laid out on the sand for the taking. No tides turning or the shrieking gulls overhead. The bones of the hermit are no longer laid out for the taking. I have stolen them away to the guts of this island, where the passages all run to black, and where we can light each other's faces by their strange luminescence.
Is that the ship I crushed? I guess we'll go see it. Okay, I don't have strafe. Oh, I do. Okay, oh. Huh. It kind of seemed like it wasn't working when I tried. Okay, now it's working.
Dear Esther, I met Paul. I made my own little pilgrimage. My Damascus, a small semi-detached on the outskirts of Wolverhampton. We drank coffee in his kitchen and tried to connect to one another. Although he knew I hadn't come in search of an apology, reason or retribution, he still spiraled in panic, thrown high and lucid by his own dented bonnet. Responsibility had made him old. Like us, He'd already passed beyond any conceivable boundary of life. I would leave you presents outside your retreat in this interim space between cliff and beach. I would leave you loaves and fishes, but the fish stocks have been depleted and I've run out of bread. I would row you back to your homeland in a bottomless boat, but I fear we would both be driven mad by the chatter of the sea creatures.
There's this chemical... What do they call them? Chemical symbols? Chemical equations? There's that again. Interesting little paintings. Little drawings. Huh. Oh, a seagull. Can I cross? I wonder if I can swim. No.
Come back.
Okay. Yeah, I drown once. Okay, cool. I got what's it called? The Steam achievement. We're drowning. I have to get to that blinking tower. Okay, it seems like that was the boat that I crashed, and then that building was the one I started.
The vegetation here has fossilized from the roots up. To think they once grazed animals here, the remnants of occupation being evidence to that. It is all sick to death. The water is too polluted for the fish, the sky is too thin for the birds, and the soil is cut with the bones of hermits and shepherds. I've heard it said that human ashes make great fertilizer, that we could sow a forest from all that is left of your hips and ribcage, with enough left over to thicken the air and repopulate the bay.
Chemistry, alright, makes sense, and what looks like to be a Bible. I guess I'm gonna go this way, maybe? So I think I came from there. Okay. I like go up these hills. The game's not gonna let me. Okay, so we'll take this turn? Question mark? Because I have no concept for like what. Because like he talks about like how barren and deserted this land is and blah blah blah, and it's like, okay, but like, or how thin the air is. We just saw a seagull. It looks like these plants are like not fossilized. They just look like natural weeds and grasses. Oh. Okay.
Dear Esther, I have now driven the stretch of the M5 between Exeter and Bristol over 21 times. But although I have all the reports and all the witnesses, and have cross-referenced them within a millimetre using my Ordnance Survey maps, I simply cannot find the location. You'd think there would be marks to serve as some evidence. It's somewhere between the turn-off for Sanford and the welcome break services. But although I can always see it in my rearview mirror, I have as yet been unable to pull ashore.
Okay, I was talking for a bit and I guess I didn't unmute my microphone. I took a swig of my tea that I have, and like this microphone picks up like when I'm chewing or eating something. I asked somebody if they could hear that, and they were like, yeah, I can. And I was like, well, that's a bummer. So that's why I turn it off when I like drink anything or eat like a snack. But anyway, what was I saying earlier? Oh, that I don't 100% understand what I'm supposed to be doing. I think I'm just supposed to be listening to like this guy talk over the gameplay. But I just I don't get what's happening necessarily. I just know that I'm on this island. That there's no one here. What the hell?
There must be a hole in the bottom of the boat. How else could new hermits have arrived?
Did he eat nor drink? And blah blah, did he eat nor drink? I don't think I'm supposed to necessarily be getting into that area. Let's go back. There's just so much garbo here. It kind of reminds me, I don't know if anyone else watches Divorce, but sometimes that dude, well, I mean, he's like retired now, but he has these videos where he would go to like parts of Alaska that were like once World War II bunkers or whatever, and this just like kind of reminds me of that. Like there's just stuff everywhere from that time, and people just kind of left it there as like, you know, historical landmarks or whatever. But I thought it'd be kind of cool to go to like areas that were once filled with people and very obviously are not anymore, but they kind of like left everything alone. For the most part though, they took all the trash and all the stuff that would cause harm to the environment, so now it's just like concrete walls and steel walls just like sitting around getting reclaimed by the earth.
It's only at night that this place makes any sluggish effort at life. You can see the buoy and the aerial. I've been taking to sleeping through the day in an attempt to resurrect myself. I can feel the last days drawing upon me. There's little point now in continuation. There must be something new to find here. Some nook or some cranny that offers a perspective worth clinging to. I've burnt my bridges. I've sunk my boats and watched them go to water.
So I think that paint says, and neither did he eat nor drink. I don't know who he is referring to at this moment, at this current time. In games like this, I get that we're not really supposed to be like running, but like sometimes I think it behooves us to like want to run through sections that, I guess not behooves us, I guess naturally we would want to run through sections that we've already been through. And I feel like this game could have really benefited from like a run function. I do appreciate the attention to detail that when you're going up a hill or some incline, you just automatically walk way slower. Okay. So there's nothing here. This is what that guy was talking about. He's like, if only there was like a nook or cranny somewhere. Oh, because that's where I came from. Okay, so, okay. There's nothing. One over there. Took this path, kind of just like leads me. This took me over to where the boy is. And that takes me to the beginning. Well, there's this path over here on the other side. This is just like trash. A way to get on the boat. I can't jump. Let me see what my settings are. Yeah, I don't really have any other functions.
I had kidney stones, and you visited me in the hospital. After the operation, when I was still half submerged in anesthetic, your outline and your speech both blurred. Now my stones have grown into an island and made their escape, and you have been rendered opaque by the car of a drunk.
I want to take that sudden narration about his kidney stones to be a sign that I'm going to die. Where's the pig?
When I first looked into the shaft, I swear I felt the stones in my stomach shift in recognition.
I wonder if that is the nook and cranny he was looking for. Oh, there's a house up there. Okay, let's go up to the house.
I've begun my ascent on the green slope of the western side. I've looked deep into the mountain from the shaft and understood that I must go up and then find the way under. I will stash the last vestiges of my civilization in the stone walls and work deeper from there. I'm drawn by the aerial and the cliff edge. There is some form of rebirth waiting for me there. The bothy was constructed originally in the early 1700s. By then, shepherding had formalized into a career. The first habitual shepherd was a man called Jakobsen, from a lineage of migratory Scandinavians. He was not considered a man of breeding by the mainlanders. He came here every summer whilst building the bothy, hoping eventually that becoming a man of property would secure him a wife and a lineage. Donnelly records that it did not work. He caught some disease from his malcontented goats and died 2 years after completing it. There was no one to carve white lines into the cliff for him either.
Damn, that sucks.
When the oil lamps ran out, I didn't pick up a torch, but used the moonlight to read by. When I've pulled the last shreds of sense from it, I will throw Donnelly's book from the cliffs and perhaps myself with it. Maybe it will wash back up through the caves and erupt from the spring when the rain comes, making its return to the hermit's cave. Perhaps it will be back on the table when I wake. I think I may have thrown it into the sea several times before.
Another one of these drawings. Seen those lighthouses? It was like a article.
He left his body to the medical school and was duly opened out for a crowd of students 21 days after his passing. The report is included in my edition of his book. The syphilis had torn through his guts like a drunk driver, scrambling his organs like eggs on a plate. But enough definition remained for a cursory examination, and, as I suspected, they found clear evidence of kidney stones. He's likely to have spent the last years of his life in considerable pain. Perhaps this is the root of his laudanum habit. Although its use makes him an unreliable witness, I find myself increasingly drawn into his orbit.
A while ago, there were these lighthouse. I wonder if they all got sold. These lighthouses just around the United States that were up for sale, and they wanted people to live in them and kind of operate them in a way. I wonder what happened to all those lighthouses. I don't know, just this type of terrain just kind of made me think about that. I fear that I have romanticized living on the coast, not like the West Coast. Living on like the East Coast or something like similar to that weather-wise. What is that? It sounds like a radio. Okay, there's a candle here, which means somebody else was here recently. Ah! Oh my god, that scared me. Oh my god. Oh.
Donnelly did not pass through the caves. From here on in, his guidance, unreliable as it is gone from me. I understand now that it is between the two of us, and whatever correspondence can be drawn from the wet rocks.
All right. The wet rocks. There's like little, these little painted dots are like little splatters. These cute little mushrooms. Now this Avatar-esque music playing right now. What the frickin' heck, bro?
There is no other direction, no other exit from this motorway. Speeding past this junction, I saw you waiting at the roadside, a one last drink in your trembled hands.
This looks more mechanical than the other drawings, and here's this symbol again. Oh no, this is different. Ooh. Supposed to jump. Okay, here I can swim. Just stuck down there. Huh. This sure is beautiful though. Damn. Paint splattered. This way. If I'm being honest, this is like some of the best water animations I've seen in a video game. It's so hard to animate water. Slip. Slip. Okay, that's where I came from, that hole there. Another candle. Cute little mushrooms that glow in the dark. What's that? Oh, it's just it's like an odd color here. Huh.
I'm traversing my own death throes.
Wow.
The infection in my leg is an oil rig that dredges black muck up from deep inside my bones. I swallow fistfuls of diazepam and paracetamol to stay conscious. The pain flows through me like an underground sea. These crystals. Neat. This is really scratching my itch of like exploration, but like exploration without the stress of like the survival part of it. Sometimes I wish games had like a... Oh, what was that? It was like a post on the internet where somebody's like talking about how Elden Ring should have a photo mode or like a lore mode. And I guess there's like... I mentioned that to like some friends and they were talking about how there are games that actually do that where they like have a photo mode / lore mode and you can just kind of like explore the area. It's like certain like there's like things that tell you about place that you're kind of like in, all that jazz. And I feel like this is like really doing that for me. Like there's no, obviously there's no photo mode, but the like lore is like being told to me. It's like a weird rock.
is this like a little mechanical drawing there? What the heck? Those are paper boats, but they're writing. Big letters. Huh. Okay. Well, I guess we'll keep that. We'll keep that little detail in our head as we keep going up. Huh. Whoa. This... this texture is like really confusing to my eyes. It wants me to think that they're like soft, but they're not.
I will hold the hand you offered to me, from the summit down to this well, into the dark waters where the small flowers creep for the sun. Headlights are reflected in your retinas, moonlit in the shadow of the crematorium chimney.
It says, "Behold, Damascus is taken." Oh boy. Looks like Einstein just threw up everywhere. What the friggin' heck? Damascus is taken. Away from being a city. And it shall be a ruinous heap. Not ominous at all. People say shit like that all the time. People say stuff like that all the time. All the time, every day. Through here. freaking heck? It's a bunch of coins, and that's like a gurney. Huh. That's beautiful, though. Gorgeous view of the moon.
The moon over the Sanford Junction, headlights in your retinas. Donnelly drove a grey hatchback without a bottom. All the creatures of the tarmac rose to sing to him. All manner of symbols crudely scrawled across the cliff face of my unrest. My life reduced to an electrical diagram. All my gulls have taken flight. They will no longer roost on these outcrops. The lure of the moon over the Sanford Junction is too strong.
It's a big moon, too. As Esther? Am I looking for the guy? You know what I'm saying? Like, at first I thought I was playing as the guy. But now I think I'm playing it as Esther.
Dear Esther, I find each step harder and heavier. I drag Donnelly's corpse on my back across these rocks, and all I hear are his whispers of guilt, his reminders, his burnt letters, his neatly folded clothes. He tells me I was not drunk at all.
I was a different man. Now I'm confused. Do be scrolling. What the hell? This soundtrack is so 2012 coded. It's so millennial coded.
There were chemical diagrams on the posters on the walls on the waiting room. It seemed appropriate at the time. Still life abstractions of the processes which had already begun to break down your nerves and your muscles in the next room. I crammed diazepam as I once crammed for chemistry examinations. I am revising my options for a long and happy life.
A light from heaven shone around him. Alright. I know that I was talking about like there should be a sprint button, but like honestly I'm moving kind of fast. Like it doesn't seem like it, but I think it's because the sound of the steps being taken, you're like, oh, I'm just like... What is that?
From here, I can see my armada. I collected all the letters I'd ever meant to send to you, if I'd have ever made it to the mainland, but had instead collected at the bottom of my rucksack, and I spread them out along the lost beach. Then I took each and every one, and I folded them into boats. I folded you into the creases, and then, as the sun was setting, I set the fleet to sail. Shattered into 21 pieces, I consigned you to the Atlantic, and I sat here until I'd watched all of you sink.
Okay, so those are these stairs up. We're gonna look at this and then go up the stairs. Oh boy. On a sudden, a light from heaven shone around him, and he fell to the ground. All right. Yes, I think I am, as suspected. I am supposed to get to that tower.
A sound of torn metal, teeth running over the edge of the rocks, a moon that casts a signal. As I lay pinned beside you, the ticking of the cooling engine, and the calling from a great height, all my mind as a bypass.
I've begun my voyage in a paper boat without a bottom. I will fly to the moon in it. I've been folded along a crease in time, a weakness in the sheet of life. Now you've settled on the opposite side of the paper to me. I can see your traces in the ink that soaks through the fiber, the pulped vegetation. When we become waterlogged and the cage disintegrates, we will intermingle. When this paper aeroplane leaves the cliff edge and carves parallel vapor trails in the dark, we will come together.
And he was proceeding on his journey. Okay. Okay. And let's come near just come to Damascus. Why is this turning evil?
If only Donnelly had experienced this, he would have realized he was his own shoreline, as am I. Just as I am becoming this island, so he became his syphilis, retreating into the burning synapses, the stones, the infection. Returning to my car afterwards, hands still shaking, and a head split open by the impact. Goodbye to tearful aunts and traumatized uncles. Goodbye to the phenomenal. Goodbye to the tangible. Goodbye Wolverhampton. Goodbye Sanford. Goodbye Cromer. Goodbye Damascus. This cliff path is slippery in the dew. It is hard to climb with such an infection. I must carve out the bad flesh and sling it from the aerial. I must become infused with the very air.
And it came to pass that as made my journey. When it's like this close. Almost fell. Yeah, it's really hard for me to read this when it's like so close.
Blind with panic, deaf with the roar of the caged traffic, heart stopped on the road to Damascus. Paul sat at the roadside, hunched up like a gull, like a bloody gull, as useless and as doomed as a syphilitic cartographer, a dying goat herd, an infected leg, a kidney stone, blocking the traffic bound for Sanford and Exeter. He was not drunk, Esther. He was not drunk at all. All his roads and his tunnels and his paths led inevitably to this moment of impact. This is not a recorded natural condition. He should not be sat there with his chemicals and his circuit diagrams. He should not be sat there at all.
It's windy up here. Damascus.
I have run out of places to climb. I will abandon this body and take to the air. Dear Esther, I have burnt my belongings, my books, this death certificate. Mine will be written all across this island. Who was Jacobson? Who remembers him? Donnelly has written of him. But who was Donnelly? Who remembers him? I have painted, carved, hewn, scored into this space all that I could draw from him. There will be another to these shores to remember me. I will rise from the ocean like an island without bottom, come together like a stone, become an aerial, a beacon, that they will not forget you. We have always been drawn here. One day the gulls will return and nest in our bones and our history. I will look to my left and see Esther Donnelly flying beside me. I will look to my right and see Paul Jacobson flying beside me. They will leave white lines carved into the air to reach the mainland, where help will be sent.
Wow. What the freaking heck?
Come back.
Well, dang. Did it. I I still I'm not 100% on what happened. Yeah, I think I got what was going on. One of these guys did anything else. I got this game like years ago at this point. Like this is the what is it, Legacy edition technically, but it still has been a few years. Also, I kind of take back what I said about the sprint button. I don't think this game needs a sprint button. Just not because when I looked up how long this game was, it said like a couple hours. So it kind of makes me feel like I missed something, or did I just like take the most optimal way to uh beat the game? Like, did I miss some stuff? It didn't feel like I missed some stuff. Yeah, 2017. This version of the game came out. I think the original is 2012. Huh. Be interesting to play with director's commentary. I won't do that now, but what an interesting game. I am. Let's see. I'm gonna. Okay. There we go. I'm gonna have that playing as I like look some stuff up. Let's see. It was good though. I actually did really enjoy myself. I think I really needed that after not only playing Alan Wake 2, which is like very involved and very much like you have to be locked in. For the whole time. But this was just like a nice like break from that, and then playing Billionaire, which if you haven't been watching, I was like really struggling through that. So fun fact, Dear Esther was originally a mod of like a G mod, it looks like. Which is like, I don't know, that's pretty cool. Which reminds me, I was playing... Oh, they made the new Vampire the Masquerade. They also made Still Wakes the Deep, Amnesia, Machine Perf Pigs, and Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. That's another game that I started and I kind of had to stop because I was getting dizzy. I played it on a PS4. I think I can't remember how far I got through. I think I got pretty far, but I had to like stop because it was just like it was so dizzying. Maybe now that I have like a gaming PC and not like a PS4, that's a game that I can like revisit one of these days. But Everybody's Gone to the Rapture is very similar to Dear Esther in terms of the triggers is you just walking more, basically. Like your movement throughout the area is the trigger. Okay, I'm gonna read this thing from Wikipedia, and we're just gonna discuss. The gameplay of Dear Esther is minimal, with the only task being to explore an uninhabited Hebridean island. Interesting. Don't know what that means. Okay, the Hebrides are the largest archipelago in the United Kingdom. So it's those islands that are kind of to like the west of the UK. Listening to an anonymous man read a series of letter fragments to his deceased wife, Esther. As the player reaches new locations on the island, the game plays a new letter fragment relating to that area. Different audio fragments are revealed in each playthrough. Oh, interesting. The game presenting a slightly different narrative each time. Several other characters are referred to by the narrator, a man named Donnelly, who charted the island in the past, Paul, who is suggested to be the drunk driver in the accident in which Esther died, and a shepherd named Jacobson, who lived on the island in the 18th century. As the player explores the island, they find the derelict remains of buildings, a shipwreck, and cave system whose walls are adorned with images resembling chemical diagrams. Okay, they're called chemical diagrams. Circuit diagrams, neurons, and bacteria. At various points, a figure is seen walking away from the player in the distance. but disappears before they can be reached. I never saw that. If I saw that, I would be so, like, infinitely more scared. Maybe this is like a next playthrough, if I do like another playthrough of this, like on my own. Or maybe I like missed it, because I'm starting to do this thing where I'm trying to record gameplay, because like the gameplay that I download from Twitch is not very good quality. So I'm trying to get like really good quality of gameplay, especially now that I'm doing things like cameraless, and so I won't be like in the corner and stuff. Anyway, as the game progresses, the identities of the characters become more blurred, and the player is made to draw their own conclusions. Okay, so I'm not really supposed to know exactly what happened. I just know that the guy, like, he like had enough and he jumped. Interesting. Let's see. Initial release. Okay. So as a mod, it gained quite a bit of reviewing the game for Honest Gamers in 2009, Lewis Denby praised the game's original tone, saying the game taps into an emotion that few games dare to approach: unhappiness. Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting seeing this shift in tone in games, especially like being kind of alive for that shift. I watched this like very good this video yesterday about how movies and shows have kind of like swung from being encouraged to show morally gray protagonists to where we are kind of now, and now we're kind of swinging away from it a little bit, or people are realizing that it kind of sucks. They're showing characters that have no flaws because, you know, people don't want to put up with like the controversy that kind of comes with that. Like, you want to take a risk without taking the risk in storytelling. In this game, just as beautiful and like wonderful as it is, and how simple it is to play, there is an air of unhappiness, and that's not just the letters, it's just the environment. Like, because the environment can be beautiful and like you can still feel like, man, something happened here, you know, just like some bad stuff was going on. I guess like not necessarily bad stuff was going on, but like maybe the vibe. I think it's the vibe. The vibe of this game is just generally unhappy, and it is. And like everything around it, like the music, all the sounds, like the environmental storytelling, it just feels very like unhappy. All the crashed boats that you see, all the like dismantled cars, all these scrawlings on the wall that just feel like, because they're not pleasant to read, they feel very hectic. Despite questioning whether it constitutes as a video game, reviewers praised the game's originality and commented favorably on the emphasis on the story. I don't know, I feel like I'm gonna save this discussion. I had a whole script written about this, so maybe I'll save this discussion. It is very interesting. This thing gets brought up with a lot of these games that I play that are not like, obviously they're not like Elden Ring or whatever, but you're still interacting with it. Let's see. I'm looking at the the achievements I didn't get. Whoa, that's crazy. I almost triggered all the voiceover points. There's 4 urns somewhere. See, this is what I figured. I figured that I got really close to like doing the whole game. But like this is a game that you kind of have to like play multiple times. Interesting. And then there's the... Yeah, I'll have to do director's commentary on my own. What are these urn locations? Oh, they're kind of just like spilled everywhere. Oh, I should have seen that one. Damn it. That's what I was looking at. There was a little section where I was like, what is that? It must be a rock. It wasn't. It was an urn. But yeah, overall thoughts. I thought it was very good. I thought, obviously, I'm in the camp where it first of all, it is a video game. My definition of a video game is very close to like what the official definition of a video game is. It's just an interactive medium that you personally interact with. I think a video game, while it's like, it is a very loose interpretation of a video game, but what else is it? It's not a book. It's not a movie. It's not. it's. I mean, it's a video game. It's kind of crazy how much we bring up like this topic for anything that isn't making you shoot at something. Like this is very like it just, if this isn't a video game, then Firewatch is not a video game. You know, the only difference between this and like Firewatch is that Firewatch, like you have these like little things where you do inputs, but in this, like, I think people forget that like, you, the player, can be the trigger, and that's what this game is. Like you're not necessarily interacting with anything, but you are the interaction itself, right? Like, so when you get to a certain area in whatever map, a person starts talking. It doesn't, like, certain music and certain like key lore dumps that kind of like happen through these letters to Esther, they don't happen unless you cross a certain threshold. And in a way, like, yeah, like this is just, I don't know, it's just very obviously a video game. Like this is such a video game. Yeah, I don't know what else to add. I thought I like it. Like, I don't know. I personally really like games like this. I think that these games invite very interesting ways of, or interesting new ways to interact with a world, right? Like you have this idea like, well, this game's mainly about exploration, but we don't want people to, the point is not to have people like run around and like doing like grappling hooks everywhere. Like, no, it's to tell a story. Like that's the point of this game. And when you have a premise like that for any game, I think really interesting things can happen. And then we get games like Gone Home. I think Gone Home came out. When did Gone Home come out? Gone Home came out literally the year after this. And Gone Home is a tad bit more interactive because in Gone Home, you aren't the trigger. The things you do are the trigger, right? Because it's kind of like a big puzzle house. That's what Gone Home is. Oh, this was developed for the PlayStation. Okay, so now I'm looking at information about everyone's gone to the Rapture. Interesting. Okay, well, maybe that's another game we can tackle another day, but yeah, if you were here just like lurking and just kind of like hanging out watching the game, thank you for that. Thanks for hanging out and chilling. I gotta block this. Person for doing scams on my Twitch chat. So yeah, this is the full playthrough. If you like this broadcast, there are many other games that I have played that I have also completed on my YouTube. My brain is like scrambled eggs right now. Every time I stream, everything gets like automatically uploaded to YouTube, so you don't have to wait. It's up there right now, along with all my other playthroughs. There's hours and hours of content right now on there, including like little videos that I make here and there. I stream both on YouTube and Twitch. Whichever platform you prefer, I'm there. The only other social media that I'm on is Bluesky. So follow me on there too. I just kind of like say stuff. I just kind of say stuff on there. But yeah, anyway, hope you all have a good rest of your Sunday. And I'll hopefully see you all tomorrow for some Alan Wake 2. Bye.